Fire officials are giving an update on the fatal high-rise fire near Lawrence and Kingston Road in Scarborough this afternoon. Let's listen in.
Hi, thank you for being with us this afternoon. I'm joined by Duty Inspector Albanese with Toronto Police Service. Shortly before 3:30 this afternoon, Toronto Fire Services responded to a report of a fire in the Toronto Community Housing high-rise residential building behind us. Upon arrival, the first arriving crews reported smoke showing and activated a working fire response. Unfortunately, in the course of their search and rescue and suppression operations today, a number of residents were located and occupants located inside the building. Unfortunately, one of those occupants has been determined to be deceased. So on behalf of all of us at Toronto Fire Services and of course Toronto Police, we extend our most sincere condolences to the friends, the family, and all those impacted by this terrible loss at this tragic fire. Our crews successfully rescued an additional 4 people during the course of operations. Those 4 people were of course immediately treated and have been transported to hospital by Toronto Paramedic Services. The most recent information that I have is that 2 of those 4 are listed in critical condition. The other 2 are listed in serious but not life-threatening condition. So of course, we are awaiting updates from the hospital. The fire has now been extinguished. Our crews are continuing to work on the scene. Both Toronto Community Housing and our colleagues at the TTC have made provisions for emergency shelter provisions. And of course, we have notified, and our fire investigations team is en route, also notifying the Ontario Office of the Fire Marshal. So once the investigators get here and the on-scene operations have been concluded, the investigation into the origin, cause, and circumstances of this fire will of course commence. So again, I'll just extend my condolences to all those impacted by this tragic event, and happy to take any questions.
Chief, any idea how the fire began?
We have no indication as to the origin, cause, or circumstances of the fire at this point. That, of course, is the purpose of the investigation. That investigation, the preliminary aspects of the investigation are underway right now. As always, collaborative effort between our fire investigators, the Ontario Office of the Fire Marshal, Toronto Police, and of course acting as agents of the coroner. So far too early for us to tell. We won't speculate on that. That investigation will continue in due course.
The person who perished today, were they a resident of the unit that was the focal point, I guess? Or?
At this point, I don't know the particulars of with respect to occupancy status. I can confirm, of course, they were located inside the building. So the status of all of the occupants and the circumstances that led and contributed to this tragic fatal fire will, of course, form part of the investigation. Duty Inspector may wish to comment to that.
I just want to add that we do have some significant road closures in the area here. So if you are planning on coming down to this area, just be aware that Lawrence Avenue is closed from Kingston Road to Morningside Drive. So if you can avoid the area, that would be great. For those that are displaced from the building here today, it's going to be some time until we can sort through what's happened here. So we ask for patience and your understanding until we unravel what's happened here. With respect to the victims, we also at Toronto Police express our condolences to the victims and their families, and we're here to support the Toronto Fire Services here in this investigation. No indication of any injuries to our crews, which of course is great news. These are really challenging circumstances. So as always, our crews made very quick entry into the building, both for search and rescue and interior attack operations. They were able to very quickly control the fire and then had to deal with the migration and smoke issues. Fortunately, today we're able to do that without sustaining injuries to any of our personnel, so I'm thankful for that.
Chief, maybe you already said this, how many units are listed in
I don't, because we haven't been able to be inside the building or commence the investigation, I don't actually have confirmation as to how many units are affected. We know, of course, that the fire originated in one particular unit, and one of the things that the investigation will pay particular attention to is the spread of the fire and the smoke. So looking specifically at how that occurred and why it occurred. I should also tell you that we inspected this building from a fire code perspective very recently. In the middle of January, this building was inspected, and that's standard process for us. Toronto Fire Services inspects all high-rise residential buildings and all Toronto community housing buildings at least once a year. So this building had been inspected. That means that there were no significant issues and no issues with the fire code, which is good. But of course, all of that work will also be included in the investigation that will happen into the origin, cause, and circumstance investigation of the fatal fire.
Do you have the buses on scene here and taking out the shelter? Any idea how many people that were involved?
We don't actually have a count at this point with respect to the total number of displaced occupants. As always, I'm always appreciative of all that Toronto Community Housing does. They mobilize very quickly to put provisions in place to look after people that are displaced from the units, and they've done that again today, as well as our colleagues at TTC, who are almost always with us and are able to be here very quickly and provide on-scene shelters. So as the investigation continues, we'll get better information with respect to how many people aren't able to reoccupy their suites, but that will happen in due course as the investigation continues. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I get both names? I know who you are, but just on camera.
Sure, my name is Matthew Pegg, M-A-T-T-H-E-W, Pegg, P-E-G-G. I'm the Fire Chief, Toronto Fire Service.
Okay, we have been listening in to Chief Matthew Pegg. They're providing the very latest update along with Toronto Police on that deadly fire that took place in Scarborough in the Lawrence and Kingston area. We know one person was found dead from this blaze. We now know and have an update. 4 people were also injured. 2 of them remain in critical condition. The other 2 are in serious but non-life-threatening condition. At this point, the fire is out, and from there they will hand things over to the fire marshal for the investigation into the cause of this blaze. As far as residents who are displaced due to this fire, they say they're getting assistance from TTC as well as TCHC members as well. And a heads up that as far as the area where this fire took place, Lawrence Avenue is closed from Kingston to Morningside.